Well, I just wanted to start by thanking Congressman Schiff for being an activist vegan. Thank you so much for that.
I think you really want to tie the whole union together, right? I'll give you my full vote.
As for the question, I think that the reason so many of us are here is because the two of you, in your individual ways, give us hope and give us. That statement, the question is, a lot of people right now, when they think about hope for our democracy, just talk about it in terms of what's going to happen in the next midterm election. They don't even think to go further than that. I'm just wondering if the two of you can talk about why we should have hope for democracy itself in the future.
You nail it. That is such a great question and strikes such a chord that I now feel like a tremendous dick. So this is like you are preaching to the choir right now, because this is my new evangelism, right? I mean, I am really, I have had a really lucky opportunity. A year ago at the New Yorker Festival, I got to interview one of my heroes, Dr. Jane Goodall. And Jane, yes, I am on a first-name basis with her. Jane, and she, of course, was interested in me as a primate, but Jane had written a book called The Book of Hope, which I think is a really good book. And she defines hope in a really interesting way. Because, hope is actually, it's a political buzzword. It was, before Barack Obama used it, Ronald Reagan used it. He used it a lot. And Bill Clinton said, I'm from a town called Hope, Hope is like, it starts losing its meaning because it's like this very, it just seems like it's a bromide, it's a cliche. And Jane Goodall, when this left a great impression on me because her definition of hope was really interesting. Because she sees all the same problems we see, and she sees them from a more scientific, forensic basis. Like she sees the devastation of habitats and what climate change has done. And yet, she's very hopeful. And we discussed this. And she said, in her view, hope is like a meaningless term unless it is hope that is energized, and it energizes you and motivates you to take action. So that if there's no hope, then you just say, okay, let's just eat, drink, and be merry, because it's all over. But hope should be an aspiration, a goal. So if your hope is, I hope that we have democracy for our children, grandchildren, then you've got to get to work on the ground now to make that case. Actually, one thing that was interesting about January 6th and the attempt to discredit the election and all of that is that it wasn't just Democrats, it was Republicans in a lot of localities who stood up for our democracy. At great risk, people who were being hectored by Donald Trump and his cronies, they stood up and said, no, my job of Secretary of State is to make sure that these votes are counted. Now, of course, the Republicans are trying to replace those secretaries of state with complete batshit crazy MAGA people, and that will be a problem. But one way that we can keep that from being a problem is if we're doing the work in all those states to do the kind of work that Stacey Abrams did. Stacey Abrams gives all of us hope, but it was her hard work that made hope tangible. So that's my little. So
I actually work for Jane Goodall.
Is that true?
I do, and one of the things I do for her is I worked with Congressman Schiff's office recently to introduce a bill that you introduced about a month ago called the SWIMS Act, which protects orcas and dolphins. That's more of a setup for you, Congressman.
But you really haven't done anything for me, in other words. Adam Schiff, it's quitting time. Adam, take it away.
Well, I'm really so glad that you asked the question, because I think that there's a lot of despair in the country, and we don't have the luxury of despair. We're going to get through this. I think when you're in crisis, and our country is in crisis, it's hard to see when it ends. Sometimes it's even difficult to see if it will end, but it does end. We have been through difficult times in our past, and we will get through this. The speaker likes to say to members of our caucus, but it's true of everyone. She says, know your own power. And the truth is we all have the power to influence people around us. So we may have a large circle, we may have a small circle, but we all have the power to influence our circumstances if we use it. One of the people I had the great blessing to serve with was John Lewis. I don't know that I ever saw a day where John Lewis wasn't upbeat, didn't have something positive to say, didn't have a smile on his face, wasn't optimistic about the future. I don't know that I ever saw a day like that with John Lewis. And John Lewis could experience what he experienced in his lifetime and still be optimistic about the country's future, then so can we. I would just say to folks, don't try to do everything. Don't try to take on personally every challenge the country faces. Just decide this is the one thing I'm going to do to contribute. Either between now and the midterms or between now and the future, this is how I'm going to help support our country, our democracy, when it's at risk. And if we do that, we're going to get through this, and I have every confidence we will, because there are millions and millions of wonderful, generous, big-hearted, patriotic Americans in every state, and they will see us through this.